Hey everyone, so got a bit of a early morning stream here. It's about 6:30 in the morning for me. Uh, so I think it's been like at least 1 week, maybe 2 weeks since I did an upload, and I figured, well, easiest thing to do is to just go live. So um, this here is something I was planning on doing a video for, but we'll just take this live then. So in here, I'll do something kind of follow most of this tutorial where we analyze sentiment of movie reviews using a pre-trained Tensorflow model. And this will be all in ML.NET. And so we'll kind of follow most of this, but I'll mostly be in Visual Studio for the most part. All right, so speaking of which, I already have a console application here. We're in .NET 5, since that is the current version of .NET right now. I don't have anything. The first thing is, well, the prerequisite is Visual Studio. I have 2019, but you use 2017. Create an application. We'll do some NuGets in a bit, but first I want to mention the model that we'll be using. It's a TensorFlow model, and you can download it here. And let's see, I have it here. You get a few things here. You get the variable files from the model, the actual PB file with the model in it. Then you also get this word index CSV. So we can look at that real quick. And this is just a bunch of words that are mapped to integers. And we'll be using that within the ML.NET pipeline for our model. All right, so once we have that, we'll go into Visual Studio. I'll go ahead and create a folder that has the model information in it. And see if I can move all this in here. And since we have these files, I will make them a copy if they're new. Do the same for the variable files here. All right, so now let's do some NuGet packages. So manage NuGet packages. First, we need Microsoft.ml. And 1.5.5 here. All right. And since we're using a TensorFlow model, we need to get Microsoft.ml.TensorFlow as well. There we go. So the first thing is I want to create a static read-only string here, and that's going to be my model path. So I use path.combine for that. Environment.current directory. It's in the model directory. Now I can make my ML context. New ML context. And we can go ahead and get the TensorFlow model by using context.model load TensorFlow model. This is what we get with that NuGet package. And we'll just pass in the model path. And next, we're going to get the data view schema from our model. Our schema. So we call our model. Just say I get model schema. That's pretty easy. Just call a method for that. And we can get a couple of things from our schema here. So we can get our features type. And we have to do a catch for this, so vector data view type. We'll get that from the schema, and it's I think it's a dictionary, data view schema. I think it's actually a dictionary, and we just call it features item in there and get the type from it. And you don't get the prediction type. Do the same thing with this vector data view type schema. And this will be prediction softmax. And then type. Now for these things, let's open a saved model. There's an application called Netron. Let's take a look at our model here. Maybe, if it doesn't crash on me. There we go. So you can tell it's a pretty big model. Yeah, it's a big model. So you can go all the way to the bottom where the output is. It's in here somewhere. Anyway, these items should be in that Netron model there. All right. So with that, put these out. Control right line. Actually, I'll just copy these over since it's a decent amount of typing. We get the features type and the size of it, and the same thing with the prediction or the output there. Now let's run this and see what happens. So we get this error here, unable to load the Tensorflow DLL, one of its dependencies. If you ever get this error, then that should let you know that we need to do another NuGet package. And here you get, if I can spell it, you get the redistributable here. I think you can either use the one from Microsoft or the one from the SciSharp. Either one should be okay. So we get that. It might take a little bit to download here. All right, so let's try this again. There we go, that worked. And we got features as type integer. There's 600 of them. And prediction is a single or a float, and there's only 2 of them, which is correct in our case because since we're doing sentiment analysis, it's going to be either positive or negative. All right, continuing with the tutorial here, kind of goes over some of the model details, a little bit more about the model. We'll get into some of this in a bit. Then it goes into creating a lookup map. So let's do that. There we go. Hello word lookup, the context, data, load from text file. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be loading this word index CSV file. And here we'll do path.combine, the model path, and we'll get the IMDb word index CSV. And we'll set our columns, a new array here. A new voter column array. First one will be words, and we can make these up. These kind of column names here, we can make these up. And that is the datacon.string. It's going to be the first column. We do this again. Call it IDs. 1932, that's going to be the second column. Then we'll set the separator character to a comma. So we have that. And there's a kind of a custom mapping that we need to do here as well. It's right here where we resize our features. If you remember, let's see, when we ran this, do that again, error. If you remember, our features here has a size of 600, so we need to make sure we keep that. And that's what this resize features does. It kind of resize the array to our feature length. So let's write that real quick. It's going to be an inline action, and we're going to create a couple of classes to help us do that. First is going to be the variable length vector, and we have a fixed length vector. Create these. So it'll be integer array, and I just say variable length features. This is what we'll get from the input. That's going to be a vector type. We'll do a fixed length vector. This is also going to be an array. We'll call it features. And in here, also be a vector type where we're going to explicitly give it the length of it, which is 600, which is what we saw when we ran that earlier. And I'm going to call this resize features action, and that's the same thing they have in the tutorial there. With a couple of parameters. The features. So the input by the variable features length, and we call array.resize. The ref of the features and we resize it to 600. And then we'll set our main features to that features variable here. And with those set, we can create our pipeline. And we've got a few things we need to do. First thing is we'll do a text transform where we tokenize into words. We'll call it tokens. And we'll say our review is going to be our input column. Okay, and we're doing kind of movie review data is what this model was built on, the IMDb movie review data set. All right, so the context, now we transform, we do conversion, and we'll map a value. So variable length features. This is where we're going to use that word lookup. We're going to use that mapping, and then we'll use the schema of that, the words, which is what we got in here, kind of the words column that we made up. And we'll do the ID column. And we're going to set the tokens in there. I'll take the tokens from the review and do a word lookup from those. Alright, so now we do another transform. We do a custom mapping, and this is where we call that resize features action. And I know I misspelled that, but I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to do I'm just going to call it resize as for the name of the mapping. Now we get to use that Tensorflow model to score the Tensorflow model. And remember that output was prediction softmax, and then we'll give it the features. And then one more append where we do another transform where we copy the columns from to a prediction column, and we do that same prediction softmax column from up here. So we scored a column from our features to the prediction softmax column, and then we take that column and copy it into a prediction column. And I'm missing a parentheses somewhere. Get here. There we go. And now we have a pipeline. Create some data. I'll take that data from enumerable, or load from enumerable. And since we're not really training on data here, we're using a pre-trained model. We can just give it an empty list, and it's going to be a movie review. Now let's create this class. And it's going to have a single property. It's going to be string. It's going to be review. It's going to be an input to our model. With our data and our pipeline, we can call pipeline.fit on our data. We have our model, we create a prediction engine from it. Complex model, great prediction engine. The movie review as the input, and the output will do movie review sentiment. And pass in the model there. Let's create this other class. It's going to be a float array called prediction. It's going to be a vector type, and there are only two outputs, so it's going to be a vector type of 2. And this prediction is the same name as what we have here in our copy columns. So let's test it out. Create a review, so new movie review. Review, let's say, I like the action in the movie. We'll get a prediction engine, predict on our review. Do a couple of console lines first. The environment, that new line, kind of help it stand out in our console output. I'll just copy it down. Let's say number of classes that we get. And that's going to be prediction, that length. It should be 2 that we get back. And then let's say the sentiment. And we can say prediction, that prediction. We'll take the second item of the prediction. And is it greater than 50%, let's say? If it is, we'll say positive. Otherwise, negative. You can change this as much as you want. You can say anything less than 0.5 is negative, from 0.5 to 0.7 is neutral, and everything over 0.7 is positive. But we'll keep this pretty simple for now. Let's run this, and got my fingers crossed to make sure everything works okay. There we go. Number of class is 2, and the sentiment positive. Let's kind of dig into the prediction here and see what that looks like. Float of 2, and we see these are both of our classes here. So this is going to be a negative class and then the positive class, or 0 and 1. So because our positive class was greater than 0.05, it was positive. Of course, you can go more detail into it from the tutorial here. And this gives a lot better explanation to some of the other things here than what I can give. Yep, so it got something different. Something similar here, got 2 items there. And all right, that was a little tutorial on using a pre-trained model and from Tensorflow to do some text transfer learning in ML.NET. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.